Hello and welcome to today's podcast. How has been your day so far? And happy new month to you. This is our first podcast this month. How's your month been? I hope you're doing very, very okay. So on today's podcast, I have a friend of mine. I invited him over. He is a church member and he is the head of follow-up unit in church. We'll be discussing how to motivate, how to cultivate relationships from a point zero to a point of trust. I was just thinking about the whole thing and I thought about, okay, so how do people, all these follow-up members, how do they build trust and relationships? And so I felt, I felt like it was in a very good place to talk about it because they meet new people every day and they have to follow up and build relationships with them. And I hope you get what I'm saying. So that was like why I had to reach out to him, let him talk about this. So welcome, Mr. James.
Thank you, Grace, for having me. It's good to be here. So a quick note, we recorded this thing before, but
it was long.
Somehow we recorded for about 15 minutes, so this is like a do-over.
Yes, it's short, a quick one, I pray.
Yeah, so that was more of a freestyle, but now, I have my points written down, so we'll make this as short as possible.
Yes.
Yeah, so like she said, I'm a church member. I introduced somebody recently as, it's my church member. And after I was like, wow, that hurt, so we're not friends, church member.
Oh, right, he's my friend, but also a church member.
Yeah, so I had to so the next person I met, I was like, oh, so this is my church member, it's also my friend.
Okay.
Are you good now? Okay. So, yeah, anyways, it's good to be here.
Again?
Yes, again. Talking about something.
The same thing again.
The same thing, something I have some sort of experience in, by virtue of,
position.
I wouldn't say position then now, because I think that's my former pastor would say positional leadership is the lowest form of leadership.
Sure.
Because you're basically a figurehead pointing, people in directions. Yeah, but boots on the ground, that's the main work. So how to cultivate a relationship from a point zero to a point of trust. Trust, they say trust is not given, you don't demand trust, it is earned. So yeah, cultivate is the right word. I think I gave an illustration the last time about planting a seed of corn. You plant, you fertilize, you water, and then you don't expect it to have, grown, in full, you're sitting down with your chair, waiting with your, cold, waiting to roast the corn by evening time, No, it doesn't work that way. There's a process. You weed, you water, you, what do you call it, fumigate or whatever it's called. Yeah, your side. So it takes time. So yes, like I said, I wrote my points down today, so
so I will not take so.
Okay, so I think I'll try and chip in some of my other stories in between. My stories were quite intriguing, if I do say so myself. I'm a good storyteller. All right. Yes, so for every relationship, let me start with the foundation, right?
Yes.
The most basic thing I think that most people would overlook, right? Because building a relationship with with somebody, it is not easy, right? But I think the first thing would be, people say first impressions matter.
Yes.
Right.
Very long way.
So I wouldn't want to talk to you, but I felt, the first time I met you, you were snobbish, right?
Yeah.
how did I greet this person the first time I met them? How did I speak to them? How did I look to them?
Yeah.
So like I think that's like for starters, first impression. What's the first impression? Because it's very hard to come back from a pretty bad first impression.
Sure.
Except maybe this person is like very forgiving and there's something there or something. So yeah. So first impressions matter. So next thing we'll cover, the most basic thing is love. Every relationship must be rooted in love, right? I have no business being around you, right? Being in your life or giving you advice, right? Or telling you stuff if I don't love you, right? And it will show in the kind of advice I would give you regarding certain situations, right? I saw a post recently on a blog. There was this lady went to kind of like a shop or something, let some guy like puncture her lips with a needle, apparently to get pink lips, and then the lower lip was like really swollen, and then her friend was like cheering her on and so like, and then somebody made a comment like, this one a bad friend, why would you be cheering somebody on doing something that probably cause an infection later or something? It just makes her look like weird. Like, don't you give her good advice? Don't you love her? So if I love you, I would, the kind of things I would say to you, like it would show, right? So I'm not worried about offending you, right? I'm not worried about losing you, right? Because if this was real, I should not be afraid to like tell you stuff, tell you when you're doing like the stupidest thing, I should go to be honest. So every other thing I'll talk about today is rooted in love, right? It's the basis of everything, right? So let's talk about another point now. Talk about respect, right? Respect, honor, humility, right? Okay, you can say respect and honor kind of similar, but not exactly the same. I don't think. Okay. Now, I will tell my people now in church, I say, honor is the real test of honor, right? Is doing it when you have other options. Do you understand? Okay. Now, if I were to meet another person now, right? Culture tells me you greet this person, right? Because he's older than you. I didn't greet this person because I want to greet this person. It's not because I like you. I did that because I had to, right? So when we talk about you having options, is that you have the option of not doing it, so you choose to, right? Because you place a value on this person.
Okay.
Right? You place a value on this person. Now you talk about humility, right? Because now this not just in a kind of relationship where you have like a difference in age, whether it's like older to younger kind of dynamic and stuff, but now it also applies to let's say we are peers, we are colleagues or whatever, right? Now I talked about giving advice and all of that, it's one thing to give advice and another thing for the person to take it, right?
Sure.
So in a relationship, right, when we talk about cultivating relationships and all of that, right, you don't expect that if I was talking to you now, right, I'm talking to you, I'm saying what I'm saying, and then you're looking at me like, oh, what are you feeling like? Is it you that be giving this kind of advice? Do you understand?
Yeah.
So humility itself, right? You should be humble enough, right, to take advice, right?
Yeah.
You should be humble enough to.
Oh, it's funny.
Oh my God. When we talk about humility, because people. Okay, now let's talk about pride, right?
Yeah.
I was talking to one of my friend some time ago. She was asking me, "Oh, do I think she's proud?" Right? And I was saying that I quoted a scripture for her, from the Apostle Paul, and I said, "Let no man think more highly of himself than he ought." Right. So then because she was asking me to tell her if she was proud. And I was like, okay, why would I just tell you, oh, you are proud? I saw you were proud then. You were proud yesterday, you were proud today. You were proud last week.
Yeah.
And I told her why I did not come out and tell her directly, right? Whether I saw it or not, or whether I thought she was proud or not, right? Because that's just still my opinion, right? Is that you don't just, I feel like, and this was from a movie I watched actually, it was like more of a psychology thing. Like somebody is holding on to a wrong notion, right? You don't just come out attacking that notion, right? Because they are comfortable in that idea, so they want to, of course, retreat to their comfortable space.
Sure.
You understand? So I would go about showing you, right, letting you see for yourself, come to that conclusion that, oh, this thing I'm holding on to is wrong. So it's for me to create scenarios where you would be able to see that, right? So in describing to my friend, or in giving her a response to that question, I'd given her that scripture and I said, okay, so we have a definition for what this is. Now go back to every conversation you had and judge for yourself. It's more like leading a horse to the water, kind of, or letting the horse drink. So it's the same thing. So now I defined pride using that scripture now to define what humility is now, because we're not talking about the opposite, right? So if humility now be thinking less of yourself, and not less of yourself like self-esteem wise, right? But as regards frequency. So it will mean that every choice I make, every decision I make, everything I choose to do, right? I don't do it all the time because of myself. So it's not an I thing. It's not a me thing, right? So translating to relationships now, right? Everything is not about you, right?
Yeah.
Everything can't be about you. If it was like to be more like a parasitic relationship, a good relationship would be a symbiosis. Yeah. Anyway,
both ways.
Yeah, both ways. So give and take. My presence in your life, right, should mean something. I should either be adding to you, or in a negative situation now, taking from you. I recently heard something at a conference, the exponential conference. It's a drainers and fillers. People that just take and take and take and leave you less than they met you. So moving on, I hope we got that point actually. Moving on. Okay. Time. I wrote down here time, patience. Yeah. So I gave the illustration of the corn. Yes. So it requires time to grow. It requires patience, right? The patience you have that will not make you harvest it prematurely. because I really want to eat corn this night. I woke up with the craving. I must have corn, roasted corn to be precise. So a relationship, a sound relationship, right, that would go from point zero to a place of trust will require time and patience, because like we said, trust is earned, right? It's not given. So it takes time to earn a person's trust. Right? Because some people trust more easily than most, right? But then there are some people now coming from whatever it is they're coming from, like background, relationships, or whatever, they have trust issues, and that requires a lot of patience. Person needs from you to see that you are constant, right? Because trust, like I read in Merriam-Webster dictionary, trust. This is confidence in a person, right? In certain attributes about them, right? So I am confident that this person will never lie to me, right? So I trust that this person will not lie to me. I'm confident in the fact that this person is is a person of integrity, right?
Yeah.
So I know that this person, whatever I tell him, is safe, right? It's safe with him. He will not go behind my back and gossip about it, right? I trust that this person has the best intentions for me. This person is a good person, right? Not just to me, but to other people. And I see that. I trust that, So it's confidence in a person's ability or attributes, right? That's what trust is. And it takes time to get to that point, where I can say, I trust this person, really. So what a person like that would need, referring to a person that has maybe trust issues or so, is this person needs to see that you are consistent, that they can count on you to be this for them, to do this for them, So it requires a lot of time and patience. So that will come into play when, maybe this person lashes out, right? Maybe they say hurtful things to you. Maybe they are unkind, or they ignore you, So not that now you act stupid because you want to be his best friend, but that you are intentional about building this relationship, right? Now, we talk about intentionality, right? So we're intentional about the relationship. We're intentional about the words that we speak to them.
Yeah.
How we act around them. We're intentional about the things we say. It's not like I just say, "Oh, I love you," and then my actions don't show that, right? So intentionality means, right, my words and my actions, they align in that situation. Yeah, my words, my actions, they align. Let this person see, this person is intentional about me. This person has said this thing, and they will do it. You're intentional about building this relationship. So time, patience, intentionality, right? So it does not matter what this person has said, what this person has done, but because this person is important to you, because this relationship is important to you, you are intentional about, I love this person no matter what. I will care for this person no matter what. Now moving on to vulnerability. I think this is like one of the most important aspects of building a relationship, a trusting relationship. It is that this person can see, right, that you are as they are, as human as they are, right? When this person is telling me stuff, like I'll share the experience I had with one of my friends.
Okay.
We've been friends for a couple of years, and then there was most of our conversations, like all the time, was always about her stuff, her issues, and all of that. And then there was this day she just like, okay, I noticed she was acting kind of cold. And then I asked her, and she was like, I don't trust you, like I'm always telling you about my stuff, my own self and stuff, but you don't share, And then I was surprised, but I thought about it and I was like, okay, I do this, because I think I got so good at, just changing the topic, talk about yourself. I say I'm a very good listener, but then I saw that was true. And then for her to trust me, she needed to know that, she was not alone in maybe what she was going through, just for people to know that, they can, it's more a point of connection, right? Okay, I tell this person, I had this issue, the person tells me, right? But then the person is not getting anything back, right? It's like a kind of bonding experience, so to speak, So you bond over your experiences, you bond over the things that you've gone through collectively, I had a bad day, I also had a bad day, but then we comfort each other. You understand? So there's that. So vulnerability is very important. That we're able to share parts of ourselves with this person. If we consider this person important, consider the relationship we are building with them important, that we're able to share ourselves, right, with that person. So all these things I've mentioned now are deeply rooted in love, right? No sound relationship, no good relationship can stand outside of love, right? Everything must be in love, right? That I truly, deeply care about this person, that I truly want the very best for this person, that they matter to me, that it matters to me what happens to this person, what happens to them, how their day goes, whether they had a bad day or not, whether they've eaten or not. I care about every single thing that happens to that person, right? See the example of God, right? So John 3:16. I think it's a very, very popular verse of scripture. It says, "For God so loved the world that He gave His only begotten Son, that whosoever believeth in Him should not perish." But the focus there is, "For God so loved the world that He gave." The expression of God's love was in giving His Son, right? So, our expression of love, following that example, would be in giving ourselves to a person, giving ourselves to people, right? Sharing ourselves, just being open, giving a part of ourselves to the world, and it is obvious, when there's love, if I love a person, it should be obvious, right? It will show in the way I talk, in the way I act, in the way that I speak, the way that I do things around this person, for this person, about this person, So yeah, that's about it. So those are the major things you need to work on, So yeah, to cultivate a very good relationship from point zero to a place of trust.
Mm-hmm.
So let's go over the basics again. So love, yes, vulnerability, intentionality, time, yes, and honesty. I need to be able to tell the truth, have honest conversations with you without being judged, without feeling like, oh, I'm the bad egg, Yeah, so that's about it. So love. I can't overstress that. Yeah. So that's that. And that's that.
So
fun podcast.
Thank you so much, Mr. James. So you guys have all heard from the horse's mouth. You heard from the horse's mouth. So how you cultivate a relationship
from zero to trust?
From a point zero to trust. You give it patience, and there are times where you need to take out the weeds. There are times you have to keep putting in water, giving fertilizer. And those fertilizers
giving what it takes.
Yes, giving what it takes. The fertilizers are love, honesty, respect, vulnerability, like everything we have discussed, patience, time. Sometimes it might be really difficult, but you keep pushing for the sake of love. That's why love is very important. Here we get. Well, thank you so much, Mr. James.
Thank you for having me. I think this is like half the time we spent.
For real, like it's half, and I'm so happy. Like 50 minutes too much. Thank you so much, and enjoy the rest of your day, guys.
Yeah, thank you,
Mr.
guys.
James, thank you for having us.
Thank you so much for having me.
I guess
Yeah.
that's what I was about to say. Thank you so much for giving us the opportunity to have you.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay, have a nice day, guys, and enjoy the rest of your week. Bye.